How's it going, everybody? Now y'all know who it is. Soul Tigress with a new moon and full moon interpretation. So let's get into it. Both of these moons are negatively charged and they're negative feminine. So, new moon in Capricorn, Earth cardinal, saying as I use, planet is Saturn, 10th house, social participation, vocation, which means public self, reputation, career, and authority. Now, the full moon in Cancer is a water sign, cardinal energy as well. So, we went from two mutables now to two cardinals. They're saying, as I feel, planet is moon, 4th house, which is establishing foundations, meaning home, family, nurturing parent, and private self. For this month, it seems we are to use the energy of last month to help confront parts of us we have been really reserved about. So remember, last month was coming to our truth, also being able to connect with our internal wisdom as well as the wisdom led by the higher. So, emotional lessons that have been pushed to the side for years, particular lessons. With Capricorn in as the new moon, we are asked to look and see what it is or what kind of cornucopia do we really want? And are we willing to work for it? And do we believe that we can get to it? So with that being said, if we believe in it, that means we have to start building a different way towards it, a new type of foundation to support ourselves. So here we'll find a lot of lessons learned when being confronted with self-sacrificing moments. Do you choose them or do you choose you? Both sides hold a certain reservation to them when it comes to hesitating to start something new. The core of each sign speaks upon each sign working to help, whether it's a deity, a god, someone that they're bonded with, that they're aligned with, or loyal to. I believe that this is what weakens these signs. This kind of thing, what happens is their loyalty to others is stronger than the loyalty to themselves. Unlike Leo, who will self-sacrifice, but only to a certain sense. Now, Capricorn and Cancer, like I said, they take it to a whole new level, which you'll see in the mythology, by them willing to give their resources or even their very life for the people that they're loyal to. I think this goes across the grid at each level of involvement when it comes to these signs, kind of like how Scorpio is supposed to grow so much through their transformations, through the relationships that they have around them. Now, for here, it's opening up to our sensitive side this month and being able to push aside the stubbornness to not wanting to let go of things that no longer serve us. And we do this by embracing our sensitive side. Again, with positive feminine energy, because we have a lot of negative feminine energy that we're going to confront. So positive feminine tendencies are compassion, mercy, acceptance, and kindness. Da-da-da. So let's get into the moons now, because that's kind of like an overview. So new moon in Capricorn. So with Capricorn's mythology, or excuse me, let's get into the mythology here. I'm going backwards instead of forward. So This mythology for Capricorn is kind of weird. One of the stories, it's not well supported. There's only a little bit about it. It talks about one of Zeus's love childs went to go get something for Zeus, and in order to avoid Typhon, this love child jumped into a river and transformed themselves into a goat fish. Well, with Typhon was fought after Zeus defeated his father, I believe, Cronus. And this was all before mankind was around, so this is why the timelines don't really fit, because this person's mom was supposed to be a nymph. But the second story, this is where the mom makes an appearance again. Now, it's easier for me to pronounce this version of her name, Amathia. Either they were a nymph or a goat. They were a nymph in the one story. Here they could be a nymph or a goat, eh? Zeus was grateful for this person because of the goat's milk he drank when he was an infant. So remember, Zeus was growing up in a toxic household where the dad had big issues with the offspring. He would go and eat them right away. So I believe it was Zeus's mom hid Zeus from his dad, Cronus, I believe is his name. And so Amathia, I'm gonna start not being able to pronounce the name. Amathia, there we go. So Amathia either was the goat who gave Zeus the milk, or they were the owner of the goat who gave Zeus the milk. So eventually Zeus got bigger, broke off the goat's horn. If it was the goat, that's kind of a crappy way to say thank you, break off my horn and make me all unicorn kind of thing. Maybe that's where unicorns come from. I don't know. I'm playing. But Zeus broke off the horn to the goat, presented to Amathia, and said, hey, basically you can have anything that you wish for, which is this, from this object. This object turned into what? The cornucopia. So what's interesting, in due time, Amathia was turned into the constellation Capella, and the horn was given to a river god because this river god had one of his horns broken off by Hercules, because Hercules was upset. He was trying to holler at Hercules' woman, and that was disrespectful. So Hercules went and basically showed this river god what's up. Let's continue. So this is why Capricorn is associated with wealth, but it's not inherited wealth. It must be worked for. Something got to be given for it. So with Capricorn, because we do have that fish tail, and if you do look up things that really get into its mythology, it does mention how people forget about the fish tail, which again hints at there's an emotional side here to Capricorn. So I deem this myself the untapped sensitive side. Now Capricorn also displays reserved and patience, which is a good thing. You know, we don't need to control everything. But it also can be a bad thing when you're trying to get out of being stuck. So this is some of the things that we're going to kind of be faced with here. We're going to be faced with... What I say with Capricorn is something being broken off of us, in a sense, from the divine, a higher being, some kind of higher thing that's happening, a higher lesson. But when this gets broken off, it can be turned into something else. And if you remember the name of the game here with this channel, it's self-empowerment. So let's talk about the full moon energy now in Cancer. Cancer, and I quote, has an undeveloped mythology. It really does. Like Capricorn, they say has the most distance with mythology. I don't get why they don't say that about Cancer, because it's a very small portion that they have there. And what it talks about is Carcinus, the crab, was loyal to Hera. And Hera, we know, hated Zeus's love children. And guess who makes an appearance again in this one? Hercules. This time, he is fighting something. He was fighting the Hydra, the many-headed beast. And Hera seen that, and Hera wanted to distract Hercules, so Hera sent in Carcinus to go distract Hercules and bite him or pinch him on the heel, to which Hercules' big old foot squished him. And that was all she wrote, besides Hera giving Carcinus their own constellation for their self-sacrifice for her. So this is where these energies kind of like duplicate Cancerian. And this is an energy of being big, like a big attachment to home. Like, I don't blame them. Last time their dude went out on an adventure for somebody they cared about, he got squished. I think after that, I'd want to hang out at home too. Also, there is a big sense of loyalty to the parent who was more nurturing. Food is a big place of security for Cancerians. The hard shell is there to help protect that soft inner being, meaning that they're highly sensitive. Highly sensitive. They pick up so much. And like I said, there's that untapped sensitive side here. So what it is we're gonna be faced with this shadow side. Now I know in the last story, Cancerian, it did say like right there in the story, and even with the block cards that I used, that they are getting ready to face their shadow side. And a lot of times when you face that shadow side, it's letting things fall apart, and it's putting yourself back together piece by piece. But every time you get a piece, you look at this piece different, you're understanding this piece different, which makes you learn about yourself, the things that you're capable of, the things that drives you. And when you come out of this kind of journey, you look at where you've been and the things you've done differently. You understand yourself on a whole nother level. It's a hard journey, but it's very beautiful at the end. This is where you hit an ascension. And this all makes sense because by the time we get to the 12th house, Pisces, we should be ready to have that ascension. Whatever last little things that are attached to us should be detaching. We should be cleaning out the clutter to open up to a new awareness to come in, stepping out into a new chapter of our lives. So this is definitely very interesting. Even with this card here, Moonology, with the new moon in Capricorn, again, your hard work is paying off. Yes, we know Capricorns can reach those heights that nobody else can. But again, there is an untapped sensitivity here. And what I'm going to say is this is going to translate into gifts. This is going to be like psychic gifts. Unknowingly that they have this type of intuition and gifts right there at their beckon. Meaning we all do. And then we have this full moon here. A personal issue reaches resolution. Full moon in Cancer. You see how this is a lot of personal stuff right here that we got to work towards. You know, Cancerians have to be able This energy as a crab is smaller. They have to be on alert. They have to be able to feel the different vibrations that are coming in with the currents from the ocean, from the land, from the wind, even from the light of the day, and being able to interpret that and what they need to keep themselves safe. Ooh. And if you also heard what these houses are about, again, fourth house, establishing foundations. That's home. That's family. That's looking probably even at the relationships we've had with our parents. Then you have the 10th house, social participation, vocation. We got our reputation. We also got how we put ourselves out there in public. So we got a lot of being able to swim in the currents with others, but also with ourselves. Not swimming for others, but swimming for ourselves to keep ourselves protected, to keep ourselves going towards our cornucopia. Oh wow, this is very interesting. And what's going to happen is through these others, however it presents themselves is how we're going to be tested. But it's also where we're going to get our biggest gains from, our biggest lessons. And it's all about how we maneuver it, how we practice that acceptance, compassion, kindness, and mercy onto ourselves when we're getting ready to get hit with different types of triggers. So let's go ahead and keep moving forward. What is the advice? What is the advice for all of us, divine and universal energy? Ooh, this is interesting. I know, who was this with Leo? Leo, I was telling him to put it away. But here this also talks about self-validation, I like to say. And how we use lust to validate ourselves. People lusting after us or us lusting after others. And how this lands towards a personal resolution is reached. Maybe, again, it's how we connect with ourselves and our vulnerabilities. Sexual energy is a big vulnerable area for us. Whether it's through trauma, whether it's through trying to bond with others, or even trying to find ourselves. That could go a lot of different ways there. Something else that came out is grounding. Grounding out. When you ground out, you take time to be in the present moment. To be able to observe what is actually happening around you. Sometimes due to past experiences, our minds can get so cluttered with what's happened in the past, which puts us to fearing the moment, which also takes us to not believing a better future is for us. Being able to bring yourself back into the present moment, seeing, feeling the sun on your skin, the wind on you, being able to open up to the messages from the guides. When it feels like there's nobody there, you have to slow down to tune into those frequencies, just like you have to slow down and tune into negative frequencies. Slowing down, grounding yourself out, puts you more in tuning into those positive frequencies. Takes work. It takes work and it takes practice. One of the best things or best breathing exercises I suggest is box breathing. BOX breathing. What it does is it forces you to focus on your breathing work the way you do this exercise. And I like to say force because it makes you come out of the future, it makes you come out of the past, but it also takes you out of the storm of the present, and it brings you into what the actual immediate moment is. It takes practice. It takes practice. But again, every time you make a step towards taking care of yourself, you're creating those stepping stones to connect with yourself more. And that is the name of the game here. All right, so let's go ahead. One more card. Divine and Universal Energy. We have 3 cards here. This all talks about grounding yourself out. This is beautiful right here. Grounding yourself out. Look at that. Being okay with letting go. Letting go. I've seen a lot of people who say that the Sun card depicts being at one with the divine. Don't forget that the cycles of life are divinely driven. It brings in different polarities, different lessons to us that create different balances in us. We can create an unbalanced side to where we only see from one perspective or another, or we can create a balance to where we can see between both of these perspectives. Letting go, what does it do? It helps us honor our energy. Why? Because our energy is the most valuable currency that we have, that we own. Why do you think that all these apps want you scrolling on them? Why do you think you get everybody telling you to like, share, comment? Because your energy is valuable. Where you put your focus will either help you grow or it will help you dissipate. It will help you wilt. What could some of this stuff be tied to? Anger. A lot of times anger is emotion that covers up other things. And what do we say about the Capricorn energy? An untapped sensitivity. This could be an untapped sensitivity to something, aka an untapped trigger that hasn't been processed. A trigger, trauma, something that's been pushed aside for so long. Something that's been covered up by anger. Here, when we open up to the anger and processing that in a more positive way where we honor ourselves, we let go of the resentment, we let go of the anger, we let go of the pain, and we can open up to forgiveness. It's a lot here to work through. Anger is a very low frequency right there. Anger, a person could be willing to lose it all due to the emotion anger. But anger can be temporarily felt. I mean, it could be harbored on at the core, and that takes work. We could harbor on trying to be happy at the core. Again, that takes work. What kind of hard work do you want to put in? So I think by letting go, we're going to release some anger, which is going to help us grow. But we got to get into this immediate moment. One thing that we don't see, and as I mentioned before, it's duality. In order to learn how to protect ourselves, sometimes we have to be a victim first. I hate to say it that way, but why do you think we have cyber companies, excuse me, who will hire hackers to hack into them, to breach their cybersecurity walls so that they can learn how to protect themselves? If we talk about the Matrix, you come in and you have these NPCs. Excuse me really quick. Let me take a drink of water. Thank you. So if you think about it through the Matrix terminology, we have these non-player characters who are sent in on us. These non-player characters, again, are okay with low frequency things. They're okay with generational trauma things continuing. They're okay with corruption. How can that be okay when we're all trying to strive for something more as a collective? Well, in order to gain experiences, you have to go through stuff. And that teaches you. It teaches you how to protect others. It teaches you how to protect yourself. It could be the very foundations that you start to build into a new career that you want to go in, a new way of living, a new type of parent that you want to be when you have children, a new type of success that you would like to see for yourself and for your family, whether you have kids or not, type of thing. But it's being okay with the dualities in life. All right, so this is going to conclude it for the new moon, full moon interpretation. And I would like to thank you so much for hanging out. And don't forget to thank your angels, ancestors, guides, as well as divine and universal energy for coming in and helping out with these positive messages for all of us, right? All right, thank you so much. And I hope you have a most wonderful rest of your day.